Hi there, I am John Wolf, also known as Super Dude or Super. Welcome to episode 1 of, I guess I'll call it Sincerity Session. Makes more sense at the end than the beginning, but Sincerity Session, where I am not writing any sort of video essay. I'm just gonna tell you something that I like, something that's good, and you should try. We're all a little irony poisoned in this world, and that causes some people to shell up when someone tries to be nice or be sincere, and that's dumb. Emotional vulnerability is good for you, and I'm going to share something I think is awesome, and I encourage you to as well, wherever you'd like. YouTube, Facebook, Tink Tank, Twitter, wherever. I almost definitely won't see it unless you post it to YouTube, but it's less about me and more about the act. We should all be sincere together, so go nuts, gamers. Anyway, let me start with my thing, Deep Rock Galactic. This is one of those forever games that gets updated constantly with new content, and you could theoretically play forever assuming the studio doesn't explode. You may call them live service games, but I call them games as a service or gas games, and I'm not changing for you. I hate almost every single gas game out there because of the implication that I must drill down into each game and grind on them to get their distinctive battle passes complete to satisfy my FOMO. I remember when games just had a progression system, so if you played it a lot, you get stuff for playing it a lot. Now everything is exclusive and costs money year over year, and it's all limited time, and it costs. Deep Rock Galactic is different. I will say this up front. You pay for this game once. Its battle pass, its seasonal content, that's all free, and the battle pass content is always available after the pass expires, and it's still free even at that time. You'd never have to worry about spending more money than the initial $30 if you don't want to. There is cosmetic DLC if you want to support them further with money, but that is completely optional. With that out of the way, let me tell you what this thing actually is. Deep Rock Galactic is a game where you play as a dwarf working for Deep Rock Galactic, a mining company currently stripping the planet Hoxie's 4 for all it's worth. You're the actual miner who goes down there and extracts whatever is necessary for the mission, whether that be actual mining, asset retrieval, or damage control. You and up to 3 of your mates can head down into the planet and have a grand old time mining for loot. One problem though, the glyphids. The glyphids, along with various other bug types, are hostile to the dwarven operation here and stand to stop you. It is for this reason that each class of dwarf comes equipped with guns, tools, and grenades to turn your adversaries into an insectoid smoothie. So, for the full picture of what you're doing here, you complete mission tasks, you mine for resources for yourself and for your crew, bug smoothie. Finally, after all of your mission tasks are completed, you call for the drop pod, and run away to escape this hellhole. A few things to note about the missions. The levels are procedurally generated from a slew of different cavern shapes, so no one mission looks the same, though the layout may feel similar if you've played as long as I have. You're hundreds, sometimes thousands of meters deep into these various cave systems, meaning it's dark. Light management is important to being able to see where the ore is, and also the bugs. The terrain is completely destructible, meaning you can change the caverns to your advantage, or make it worse as your guns break up the environment. These caves weren't made for dwarves, and thus you must be clever with your advance. Each class brings a different traversal mechanic to the table, so you need to consider each class's strengths when approaching an obstacle. The dwarves' movement is weighty with floaty jumps, similar to Halo if you've ever played one, and fall damage is a very real concern. Lastly, your ammo count is limited to what you can hold, and you will run out over the course of a mission. Ammo resupplies can be called in, but only if you have enough nitra to pay for it. Nitra is this red mineral you find in great abundance throughout the level, so you need to be proactive in procuring the nitra you need before it is needed. Ammo resups give you half your ammo back on all guns. If one of your guns is full and the other's empty, the other 3 will still get half and your full gun gets nothing. For this reason, you need to spread the love out across your weapons and make sure you're never neglecting any of them, or your resupply will be less efficient. The resupplies also refill health, making them useful to use in an emergency as well. Now, for the guns. Each class brings a different set of primaries, secondaries, traversal, utility, and grenade types to the game and have different niches they are filling. There are 3 different primaries and secondaries for each class at the moment, so I'm not going to discuss each individual gun, more what role they're filling and their power level. I will also describe what each class should be doing to help orient those who are new to the game, which I will from here forward call greenbeards. Sound cool? Cool. Going in order from normal to weird, we have the gunner. The gunner is this game's heavy. He has big guns, and all of his damage-dealing options are pretty strong across the board, focusing on high DPS. His primaries allow him to put significant firepower downrange for multiple seconds before needing to worry about reloading. His secondary also packs a massive punch, and is most often useful for picking off stragglers for when you don't want to worry about spinning up your main gun. His traversal is a zipline, which is a rather slow movement option that the entire party can use. useful for crossing chasms, traveling up a sheer cliff, or for hanging on so you have an aerial advantage over bugs. Just watch out for those that can take pot shots on you. Finally, your utility is the shield, which is probably the most useful utility item in the game. Use it to get bugs off your position, or to freely save allies or grab ammo. For the Greenbeards, the gunner is here to kill bugs. Nothing more or less special than that. They kill bugs and that's their focus. Play the gunner if you want to be this game's Doom guy. The engineer is much squishier than the gunner, but can deal huge amounts of damage once they get their tools set up. Their primary is nothing special, just a gun to use to get things off of you, but the secondary on the engineer is a massive scientific tool which this dwarf uses to cause carnage. The secondaries in the engineer are some of the most creative guns in the game, but their firepower comes at the cost of ammo, so be careful with your shots. Their traversal is a platform gun which has a litany of uses, from making terrain more manageable to climb, to placing platforms on ore veins to make them easier to mine. Pro tip, the platforms negate some fall damage, so remember to fire one down before you jump. The utility weapon for the engineer, and their class identity, is the sentry gun, which takes some setting up, but once it does, it is a remote damage dealer that can auto-pick targets and take out stragglers. You still have to supply the sentry with ammo once it runs low, but the two of you together can outdamage the gunner in the right circumstances. The engineer is super powerful, but everything they have chews through ammo, making them a more burst-heavy dwarf compared to the other powerhouses. Remember to keep an eye on your ammo and assist your team in getting those ore veins. The Scout is the weakest class in the game in terms of their damage output, but their utility is exceptionally important, and they are the dwarf most missed when you're without one. Their primary is okay in terms of damage, and their secondary deals greater damage at the cost of range. Neither of these gun types are terribly strong compared to the other classes, but with some investment you can turn the Scout into a single target killer who focuses on the VIP targets, but again, this is after time and investment. The Scout is weaker than every other class in the game because of the absolute strength of their traversal and utility. Their traversal mechanic is a grappling gun, which allows them to zip all over the map and get into the nooks and crannies where ore and items may be hiding. Pair this with the utility of the Scout, the flare gun, which launches bright lights wherever it lands, and you can see that the Scout trades combat strength for unparalleled exploratory strength. The Scout is playing a different game than the other dwarves, searching for ore, finding hidden items, checking nooks and crannies for extra roots, scouting. The Scout is zipping all over the map whilst the other dwarves are worrying about the mission, allowing the Scout to focus on finding loot. But remember, don't go too far from your dwarven brethren, because you are squishier than all of them, and you don't want to die 150 meters in the air where no one can reach you, right? Play the Scout if you want to play the most utility-based dwarf in the game that everyone appreciates, at the cost of your own ability to defend yourself. And finally, the oddest class in the game, the Driller. A class that doesn't fit very many niches compared to other co-op games, but is super useful within Deep Rock's specific contexts. Each of their primaries is some sort of spray gun that gives the enemy status conditions, and leaves some of the element behind on the ground or walls to impede movement further. Their secondary guns are never very strong, but they're meant to be paired with the primary to deal chip damage after the status condition is applied by the primary. Their traversal mechanic is their drill arms, which gives them unprecedented control over their environment, allowing them to destroy any terrain with ease. Use this to clear paths through tunnels for your friends, cheat your way to mission end by drilling straight to it, or mold the terrain to your advantage. In a game with completely destructible terrain, the Driller is God. Finally, their utility is a pack of C4, which you place with one press of the button and then blow up with another. Use this to blow up large swaths of terrain quicker than your drill arms could drill it, kill a massive portion of enemies as they descend upon you, or to annoy your friends who absolutely hate when you do this to them. The Driller's crowd control capabilities are unmatched and allow them to pick off smaller foes with greater ease than anyone else, and with their equally unparalleled terrain destruction skills, this makes the Driller useful for bending the terrain and the mission to your needs. Each class fills a different niche, and whilst everyone would feel the pain of a missing Scout, there is no one class which can be easily omitted. The balance is very strong in this game, and bringing one of each class type is usually your go-to solution for problems. Alright, I'm about to talk about progression through this game, but I want you to know that you never have to go through the steps as I lay them out here if you don't want to. This is a cooperative game, with many, many difficulty dials built in so you can make the game whatever you want it to be. Missions have their own difficulty scales, and on top of that, you can set your own difficulty, from hazard levels 1 all the way to 5, so don't think that what I'm about to talk about is prescriptive. You do you, okay? With that out of the way, let's talk about progression. As a gas game, they obviously mean for you to play for potentially thousands of hours, so what do you do with those hours? Well, it depends on where you're at in your development. For the first 20 hours or so, your focus should be on finding which of the dwarf types you like, and then going to the end of that class's progression and prestiging the class, which is at level 25. Doing so will give you every unlockable for their different guns and grenades, which are a lot of missions and it can be a bit overwhelming, but you'll get around to it eventually. You don't need to worry about that. This is the first leg of the game, prestiging any of your dwarves and being allowed access to the missions, which will unlock your further weapon options. After you prestige, you gain access to the next leg of your journey, core hunting and deep dives. The deep dives are 3 missions back to back to back, which gives you special cores for completing the deep dive. Matrix cores are further customizables that you get for completing special challenges, meaning deep dives or the weekly core hunt challenge, which you can only unlock once you prestige. You've probably already done a couple of core challenges as a Greenbeard, as others were hunting for extra Matrix cores. Don't worry, you got extra XP for this, it wasn't a waste. These cores can be used to forge extra customization options for your dwarves, and overclocks for your guns, which change how the guns work entirely. The purpose of this leg of your journey is to continue completing the extra challenges you accrued from the first leg of your journey when you were working on prestiging, and collecting cores in the background. Once you have a slew of overclocked cores in your inventory, you're in the final leg of your Deep Rock journey, and the one that never stops. The final leg of DRG, just playing the full game. The overclocks give your weapons further strength than you've ever had previously in Deep Rock. Once you can choose your favorites, you've reached the point of build crafting, where you can experiment to see what your favorite weapons and damage combinations are. If you don't want to do this, don't worry about it. There are countless YouTube videos detailing this stuff. The work has already been done for you. You can just look it up and copy their work. Bringing this extra heat can make the hardest challenges in the game more manageable. Hazard level 5 missions, the elite deep dives, which represent the hardest challenges Deep Rock has to offer you. This is the top of the leaderboard, where communication is key to survival against the bug onslaught. I used to have a very serious group of people who got together to run these elite deep dives, where we would turn off our background music and only communicate mission needs. We were deadly serious about this stuff, and for that roughly half-a-year period, it was the most fun I had ever had in this game. So no matter where you find yourself in this game, whether a theory crafter for new builds, someone who likes shooting bugs casually with your bros, or someone who gets really into the customization options in the game, Deep Rock is what you want it to be, and it does not judge in terms of what you want and invest your time in. Now it's time to talk about the various storefronts that exist in the game. As I previously mentioned, gas games fill me with a great deal of rage. It's supposed to fill you with FOMO for stuff you may want, but it just makes me very apathetic and spiteful. Like, I enjoyed Overwatch 1 in the beginning, you know? I was there, I had a good time, but now that it's a game where I have to spend an amount of hours a week to keep up with content, it's like, man, where am I supposed to fit this in my life with Warzone, and Fortnite, and Apex, and Halo, and Valorant, and World of Tanks, and PUBG, and Rocket League, and Split League, and For
Super
Honor,
Dude
and
has blowed
Ninja,
up.
and League of
Please
Legends,
stand
and
by.
Dead It's hard to stay on track with one of these games, let alone any of them. Deep Rock recently switched to the gas model, but with a key difference. The Battle Pass is free, and everything on it gets fed into the prize pools found throughout the game. So if you missed out, you're not missing out. That content is still available to you, the way most content in the game is. This gives you a reason to play the game outside of the Battle Pass, and a reason to come back if you fell off the train. There are multiple storefront decisions like this that show their commitment to making the game $30 one time and never again. Like the new purple currency Phasonite, which lets you buy cosmetics in the store without spending your materials on it. Various mining materials that are found in the levels are then later used to build overclocks, so if you're stingy, this is an alternative path to buying cosmetics, and since it was only recently established, they gave everyone the amount of purple that they would have received if it was always in the game. Stuff like this player-friendly stuff that they do year over year that shows that they're conscious of the Battle Pass landscape and they're keeping the game a single purchase game, and that's it. I love that. And their community reflects this. The community is a very kind and laid-back group of people. We'll get back to the pin. This is a chill game, pretty low stakes. Nothing costs money, we're not competing against each other. This means the community, generally, is very chill and welcoming to new people. And the hub area reflects that. You'll come into some rando's game and they'll be ordering beers for everybody, turning on the jukebox, and everyone will get slammered and rock out. There are mini-games such as the barrel hoop game, soccer, weird beers that change the physics, or simply play practical jokes on people. This game isn't taking itself seriously, it's meant to be a fun time, and that is built into the bones of the thing. So please, I invite you to my bar to chill out and have a grand time with me and my dwarven friends. To return to this pin real quick, Deep Rock is becoming bigger and bigger, month over month, as people discover this fantastic game, and as a result, normies are coming in. You're gonna get some tryhards, you're gonna get some rude people. But the original community is a pretty chill group, and I encourage you to give the random matches a try, because most of the folks you'll meet are just happy to be dwarves. Some people even tell on themselves in their lobby names, so just avoid those jokers. Play with friendlies. Learn the game slowly, don't take it seriously. It's a fantastic time, and I hope you try it out. So here's the part where I have to ask myself, and you're probably asking me, why did I make this? I haven't actually been sincere yet, have I? I kind of just been telling you, like, what the game is, really. Just telling you how the thing works. Where's the sincerity? Why do I love this thing? Why does it matter to me? Well, I love Deep Rock because it is a consistently nice time. You join a level, you partake in the normal gags that the community does together, the in-jokes. Everyone salutes all at the same time when things go well, sometimes when it isn't. It's just a real vibe of a game. They have a built-in button for cheering each other on. Each update adds a new creature that your dwarf can pet. It's got dudes rock energy all over it, and that is coupled with a really dense, high skill ceiling game where you could just pour hundreds of hours into it to get a good grip of the thing. I'll sometimes have people of the red banner level join my game, and I know that that person is going to be an ass kicker because that red banner eclipses the amount of time that I've played by maybe a magnitude or more, which is, by the way, 460 hours. That's how long I've played this thing. You can go so hard into this game if you want to, and that's fantastic. You could also not, and just dork around if you wanted to, and that's also fantastic. It is both a chill hanging game for killing some bugs while chatting at low difficulties, and it is a Doom simulator where it feels like you're playing inside of the original Doom box art, and it can be both at the same day just based on what you choose. And all that depth is packed into a lovely game where dwarves cheer each other on as a mining company abuses them. It is so positive that it makes me a happier person to play it, and I hope it does that for you too. A couple of things before I go. This community was niche for a very long time, and as a result, there is some uncommunicated etiquette that would be helpful for greenbeards to know, and I will tell them to you so you do know. If you find a huge chunk of gold, just ping it repeatedly. Same thing with this particular mushroom shape. You'll see why when you do it. When Doretta's head explodes off in the escort missions, you'll have to bring her back with you to the mission end. She got you to your goal, it's only kind that you help her back. I don't make up the rules, but if you don't do this, you are a bad person. There are bugs that are sometimes your friends which give off a blue glow. This is Steve. Don't hurt Steve. Steve is your friend. Steve can also be pet, along with many, many things throughout the game. Make sure to pet the cute things, dwarves. The V button is your salute. Press it when good things happen, or when bad things happen. Press it when others press it. Press it when you make eye contact with another dwarf. This keeps morale high and makes it a more dudes rock experience. There's a saying that you'll hear the dwarves sometimes say, leave no dwarf behind. If someone falls on mission exit, try your best to save them. Someone should make it to the drop pod so the mission is secure, but after that, the others should do everything in their power to save that fallen dwarf. No dwarf left behind. Don't take more than one charge on the ammo drop without asking if it's okay first. Also, it's best to type R in the chat to ask if everyone is ready before you start something up. That includes leaving the mission. It's polite to ask, so please do so. And that's everything I can think of. This is a massively in-depth game about dwarves mining ore and shooting bugs, and is legitimately my second most played game on Steam right now. I love it so much that I've tried to drag everyone in my orbit into playing this game, and I think everyone, including all of you, should play it. It is a fantastic game that everyone should try once. And unlike those other scum-sucking gas games, this one costs no money after you buy it. So there's no harm in giving it a try. This has been Super Dude having a sincerity session with y'all. Let me know what you guys adore unironically, and I'll see you when I do.